The hardest thing a person can lose is not a relationship. It is the belief that they are worthy of being loved. Olivia Carter never expected a simple conversation to change the way she saw herself forever. For years, she believed she had built a life with someone who truly understood her. She believed loyalty, kindness, and patience were the things that mattered most. But one evening, everything she thought she knew about her relationship came apart when the person she trusted most told her that he no longer felt the same way because of her appearance. The words hurt more than Olivia wanted to admit. It was not just the end of a relationship. It felt like a rejection of everything she was. At 29 years old, Olivia had spent years supporting the people around her. She was thoughtful, dependable, and always willing to help others. As a Black woman with a warm personality and a gentle spirit, she had learned to handle challenges with patience. But after hearing that she was not the kind of woman someone wanted anymore, she began questioning herself. She wondered if she needed to become someone different to finally be appreciated. In the weeks that followed, Olivia tried to rebuild her confidence. She focused on her work, her responsibilities, and the small things that brought her happiness. She reminded herself that her value could not be decided by one person's opinion. But healing was not something that happened overnight. There were moments when old doubts returned, especially when she remembered how easily someone she loved had walked away. Then, unexpectedly, Olivia crossed paths with someone who would change the direction of her life. Adrian Blackwood was a name most people in Chicago knew. As the leader of a powerful Mafia empire, he was respected, feared, and often misunderstood. People saw his wealth, influence, and authority, but few people knew the person behind the reputation. Adrian had spent years surrounded by people who wanted something from him. Many admired his position, but very few cared about who he truly was. That was why Olivia caught his attention, not because she tried to impress him, not because she wanted anything from him, but because she treated him like a normal person. During their first meeting, Olivia did not know who Adrian really was. She simply saw a quiet man carrying the weight of many responsibilities. She spoke to him with the same kindness she showed everyone else. Adrian noticed something unusual about her. In a world where people often judged others by appearances and status, Olivia looked beyond both. She did not see a powerful Mafia boss. She saw a person. For Adrian, that was rare. For Olivia, it was the first time in a long time that someone seemed to notice who she was instead of focusing on what she looked like. Neither of them knew it yet, but their unexpected meeting would begin a journey that would challenge everything they believed about love, trust, and self-worth. Olivia thought she had lost the only person who could choose her. She did not realize she was about to meet someone who would show her that she had never needed to change to deserve respect. After meeting Adrian Blackwood, Olivia Carter expected her life to return to the quiet routine she knew. She believed their conversation was simply a brief moment between two strangers who happened to cross paths. She never imagined that the man known throughout Chicago for his influence and power would remember the woman who treated him like anyone else. But Adrian did remember. He remembered the way Olivia spoke without hesitation, the way she listened before judging, and the way she showed kindness without expecting anything in return. Those qualities stood out because they were so different from what he usually experienced. Adrian had spent years surrounded by people who carefully chose their words because of his position. Many people wanted his attention, his approval, or the opportunities connected to his name. Olivia wanted none of those things. She did not know his reputation when they met, and even after learning who he was, her attitude did not change. That made Adrian curious. Meanwhile, Olivia continued trying to rebuild the confidence she had lost. She focused on reminding herself that one person's opinion did not define her future. She started paying more attention to the things she loved, the people who supported her, and the qualities she had always carried. Still, there were moments when old memories returned. She wondered why someone who once promised to stand beside her could make her feel like she was not enough. Adrian noticed those moments when their paths crossed again. He saw that Olivia was someone who carried herself with strength, even when she was still healing from disappointment. Unlike others who tried to hide their struggles, Olivia remained honest about being imperfect. That honesty interested him. One afternoon, Adrian invited Olivia to help with a small project connected to one of his businesses. He did not offer because he felt sorry for her. He offered because he recognized her abilities. Olivia was organized, thoughtful, and excellent at understanding people. These were qualities that could not be measured by appearance or first impressions. At first, Olivia hesitated. She was not used to someone recognizing her strengths so openly. After her previous relationship, she had started believing that people only noticed what they thought was wrong with her. Adrian's actions slowly challenged that belief. He never treated her like someone who needed to be fixed. He treated her like someone who already had value. As they spent more time together, Olivia began seeing a side of Adrian that most people never experienced. Behind the powerful image was a man who carried responsibility every day. He was careful with his decisions because many people depended on him. He rarely allowed himself to relax because he believed mistakes could affect everyone around him. Olivia realized that Adrian's confidence was not the absence of pressure. It was the way he continued moving forward despite it. Their conversations became more natural, and a quiet understanding began forming between them. Adrian admired Olivia's ability to remain kind without being weak. Olivia admired Adrian's dedication despite the expectations placed on him. Neither of them expected this connection, but both began noticing something different. Olivia had spent so long believing she needed to become someone else to be valued. Adrian was showing her that the right person would recognize the qualities she already had. But neither of them knew that someone from Olivia's past was beginning to notice her transformation. The person who once walked away was about to realize that losing Olivia was a mistake he could not easily ignore. Olivia Carter had spent years believing that confidence was something other people gave you. When someone praised her, she felt valued. When someone criticized her, she questioned herself. But after spending more time around Adrian Blackwood, she began understanding something she had forgotten. Her worth was never something another person could create or take away. It had always been there. Adrian never tried to change Olivia. He never suggested that she needed to become someone different to be respected. Instead, he encouraged her to recognize the qualities she already possessed. That difference meant more to Olivia than she expected. For the first time in a long time, she felt seen for who she truly was. Adrian noticed the change in her confidence. It was not a dramatic transformation that happened overnight. It was something quieter and more meaningful. Olivia started speaking with more certainty, sharing her ideas without apologizing, and allowing herself to believe that she deserved opportunities. Adrian admired that growth because he knew how difficult it was to rebuild confidence after someone had made you feel small. He understood that feeling more than he admitted. Despite his position and influence, Adrian had also spent years surrounded by expectations. People often saw him as a powerful figure before they saw him as a person. They respected his title, but few people cared about the thoughts and responsibilities behind it. Olivia was different. She never treated him like a symbol of power. She treated him like a human being. That was something Adrian had not experienced in a long time. As their connection grew, Olivia slowly became more comfortable in Adrian's world. She learned that the people around him were not all the same. Some respected him because of his position, while others respected him because of the way he treated those who depended on him. Olivia began noticing the small details. That revealed Adrian's character. He remembered conversations, kept promises, and valued loyalty. Those moments showed her that there was more to him than the reputation everyone knew. Adrian also discovered more about Olivia. He saw her kindness, but he also saw her strength. She was not simply someone recovering from a painful experience. She was someone who had continued moving forward despite it. That resilience impressed him. One evening, Olivia and Adrian talked about the expectations people place on others. Olivia admitted that she had spent years trying to fit into someone else's idea of perfection. She believed that if she changed enough, she would finally be accepted. Adrian told her that anyone who only valued a person after they changed was never truly seeing them in the first place. His words stayed with Olivia because they reflected something she had been slowly learning. She did not need to earn the right to be respected. She already deserved it. However, as Olivia began finding herself again, someone from her past noticed the difference. Her former partner, Ethan Miller, saw that Olivia was no longer the woman who left their relationship feeling broken. She appeared more confident, happier, and surrounded by someone who appreciated her. Ethan began questioning the decision he had made. He started remembering the qualities he once overlooked and realizing that he had judged Olivia based on something that never represented her true value. But Olivia was no longer waiting for someone else to recognize her worth. She had already started discovering it herself. And soon, Adrian would have to face a new challenge as the past Olivia left behind slowly returned to her life. Olivia Carter had finally reached a point where she no longer measured her value through someone else's approval. The woman who once questioned every part of herself was beginning to understand that confidence was not about becoming someone new. It was about accepting the person she had always been. But just as Olivia started building a new chapter of her life, the past she thought she had left behind began moving closer. Ethan Miller had been thinking about Olivia more often than he wanted to admit. At first, he believed he simply missed the comfort of having someone who cared about him. But the more he saw the changes in her, the more he realized he had misunderstood what made her special. He remembered the patience she showed, the support she offered, and the way she always tried to bring out the best in people. Those were the qualities he once ignored because he focused only on what he thought was missing. Now, seeing Olivia standing with more confidence made him question his own choices. Meanwhile, Adrian Blackwood noticed that Olivia's past was beginning to affect her. He did not ask questions out of suspicion. He asked because he cared. Adrian had learned that Olivia was someone who carried difficult emotions quietly. She did not want sympathy. She wanted to be respected. That was one of the reasons he admired her. Olivia explained that someone from her past had returned, but she was unsure what to do. She did not feel the same way she once did, yet a small part of her still remembered the pain of being rejected. Adrian listened carefully and reminded her that the most important decision was not about choosing between two people. It was about choosing what kind of life she wanted for herself. His words helped Olivia see the situation differently. For the first time, she was not thinking about whether someone wanted her. She was thinking about whether someone deserved a place in her life. That realization showed Adrian how much Olivia had changed. She was no longer the woman who searched for approval. She had become someone who understood her own value. As Ethan tried to reconnect with Olivia, he approached her with regret. He admitted that he had made decisions based on shallow expectations and that he failed to appreciate the person beside him. He wanted a chance to prove that he had changed. Olivia listened, but she did not feel the need to immediately forgive or forget. She had learned that apologies mattered, but actions mattered more. Adrian watched from a distance, giving Olivia the space to make her own choices. That was another difference between him and everyone else. He did not try to control her future. He respected her ability to decide for herself. Olivia appreciated that more than she could explain. She realized that true support was not someone telling her what to do. It was someone trusting her enough to make her own decisions. As the situation became more complicated, Olivia found herself standing between the life she once knew and the future she was beginning to imagine. Ethan represented the past, a time when she believed she needed to prove she was worthy. Adrian represented something completely different, a world where she was valued without needing to change. But before Olivia could move forward, she would have to face one final question. Was she ready to leave behind the version of herself that had always searched for acceptance? Olivia Carter had spent so much time trying to understand why someone could stop choosing her that she never considered what it would feel like when someone finally did. Now, standing between the memories of her past and the possibility of a different future, she realized that the hardest decision was not about two men. It was about the woman she wanted to become. Adrian Blackwood continued giving Olivia the space to make her own choices. He never pressured her to forget her past or rush towards something new. Instead, he showed her a kind of respect she had not experienced before. Adrian understood that trust could not be demanded. It had to be built through patience, honesty, and consistency. That was something Olivia noticed more with every conversation they shared. He was not interested in changing her. He was interested in knowing her. Meanwhile, Ethan Miller tried to show Olivia that he had changed. He wanted her to believe that his past mistakes came from insecurity and poor judgment. He talked about the memories they shared and the moments when they were happy together. For a brief moment, Olivia remembered why she had cared about him in the first place. But she also remembered the feeling of being made to question her own worth. She realized that missing someone did not always mean they belonged in her future. Ethan wanted Olivia to see the person he was trying to become, but Olivia had already become someone different herself. She was no longer searching for the approval she once wanted from him. She was looking for a relationship where she could feel respected without having to prove why she deserved it. Adrian noticed that Olivia was handling the situation differently than she would have before. She was calmer. She was more confident. She was not making decisions based on fear of being alone. That was when Adrian understood how much she had grown. The woman he first met was already strong, but she had not recognized her own strength yet. Now, she was beginning to see it. One evening, Adrian and Olivia talked about the choices people make when they are afraid. Adrian admitted that many people around him approached life by protecting their own interests. He explained that power often attracted people who wanted something in return. Olivia told him that she understood because she had experienced something similar in a different way. She had spent years trying to be accepted by someone who only appreciated certain parts of her. Their conversation brought them closer because they both understood what it meant to feel unseen. As Olivia continued working with Adrian, she also discovered more about his world. The Mafia empire he led was built on loyalty and responsibility, but it also required difficult decisions. Adrian carried those responsibilities quietly, rarely allowing others to see the pressure behind his position. Olivia became one of the few people who could recognize when he needed a moment of honesty instead of another reminder of his reputation. Their connection continued growing, but both of them understood that their lives were becoming more complicated. Ethan was still trying to return to Olivia's life, and people around Adrian were beginning to notice how important she had become to him. Olivia knew that choosing Adrian meant stepping into a world she never expected to enter. But she also knew something important. For the first time in years, she was not choosing based on who wanted her. She was choosing based on who respected her. And that realization changed everything. Olivia Carter had spent months learning that being valued by someone else was not the same as valuing herself. For so long, she believed love meant proving that she was worthy of staying. She believed she needed to be more confident, more attractive, and more like someone else to avoid being left behind. But her time with Adrian Blackwood had changed the way she saw herself. He never made her feel like she had something to prove. He never looked at her as someone who needed to be improved. He simply saw Olivia as she was, and that helped her understand that she had always been enough. Adrian noticed the difference in her. The woman who once hesitated before sharing her thoughts now spoke with confidence. She no longer apologized for having opinions or taking up space. She had become more comfortable accepting kindness without wondering what someone wanted in return. To Adrian, that transformation was more meaningful than anything else. He had met many people who changed their behavior because they wanted something from him, but Olivia was different. She was changing because she finally recognized her own value. As their connection continued to grow, Adrian found himself sharing parts of his life that he usually kept private. He told Olivia about the responsibility that came with leading a powerful organization. He explained that every decision he made affected many people, and that carrying those expectations was not always easy. Olivia listened without judgment. She did not see him only as the Mafia boss everyone respected. She saw the person behind the reputation. That was something Adrian rarely experienced. Olivia also began understanding that Adrian's world was more complicated than she originally imagined. She had once thought power meant having every answer, but she learned that even powerful people could feel uncertain. Adrian had control over many things, but he could not control how people truly felt about him. Olivia realized that they shared something in common. Both of them had experienced what it was like to be seen only through one perspective. She had been judged by her appearance, while Adrian had been judged by his position. Together, they created a space where neither of them had to pretend. Meanwhile, Ethan Miller continued trying to repair the damage he had caused. He noticed that Olivia was no longer looking for his approval. She listened to his words, but she was no longer controlled by them. That was the moment Ethan understood that the person he lost was not simply the woman he once dated. He lost someone who had grown beyond the expectations he placed on her. Ethan wanted another chance, but Olivia knew that forgiveness and returning to the past were two different things. She could understand his regret without forgetting the lessons she had learned. Adrian respected the way Olivia handled the situation. He never told her what choice to make. He believed her strength came from making her own decisions. That respect made Olivia feel even more certain about the kind of relationship she wanted. She did not want someone who needed her to become different. She wanted someone who appreciated who she already was. As the distance between Olivia and Adrian continued to disappear, a new challenge began forming around them. People in Adrian's world started noticing how important Olivia had become. Some wondered why a woman with no connection to their world had earned such a special place beside him. Olivia knew attention would bring new challenges, but she also knew something had changed. She was no longer the woman who feared being rejected. She was the woman who finally understood her own worth. Olivia Carter had finally reached a place where she understood that her past did not define her future. The woman who once believed she had to earn acceptance was now standing confidently beside someone who appreciated her for everything she already was. But as Olivia became more connected to Adrian Blackwood's world, she realized that being respected by a powerful man came with new challenges. Adrian's life was filled with expectations, traditions, and people who carefully watched every decision he made. For years, he had managed those pressures alone. Now, with Olivia becoming an important part of his life, more people began wondering who she was and why she mattered so much to him. Adrian noticed the attention, but he was more concerned about how Olivia handled it. He knew she had already faced judgment from others, and he never wanted her to feel like she had to prove herself again. When Olivia expressed concerns about not belonging in his world, Adrian reminded her that belonging was not about having the same background as everyone else. It was about having the strength and character to stand where you were. His words stayed with her because they reflected the lesson she had been learning throughout their journey. She did not need to change herself to fit into someone else's expectations. She only needed to remain true to who she was. Meanwhile, Ethan Miller continued watching from a distance as Olivia's life moved in a different direction. He saw that she was no longer searching for his approval. She was surrounded by people who respected her, and she carried herself with a confidence he had never seen before. Ethan began realizing that the person he thought he could leave behind had become someone he could no longer reach. He wanted to explain himself, but Olivia had already learned an important lesson. Some apologies arrive after the damage has already changed a person. Adrian and Olivia continued building their connection through honest conversations and shared experiences. Adrian discovered that Olivia brought balance into a life that had always been focused on responsibility. She reminded him that strength was not only about making difficult decisions. It was also about allowing yourself to care about people. Olivia discovered that Adrian's quiet moments revealed more about him than his reputation ever could. He was not simply a powerful figure. He was someone who carried a heavy responsibility and rarely allowed others to see the effort behind it. Their differences became the reason they understood each other so well. Olivia knew what it felt like to be judged without being understood. Adrian knew what it felt like to be respected without truly being known. Together, they created a connection based on something deeper than appearances or status. However, not everyone around Adrian accepted the changes happening in his life. Some people questioned whether Olivia truly belonged beside him. They wondered why someone from outside their world had gained his trust. Olivia noticed the doubts, but this time she did not let them control her confidence. She remembered the person she used to be and recognized how far she had come. She no longer needed everyone to approve of her choices. She only needed to know that those choices reflected the person she had become. As Adrian watched Olivia face these challenges with calm determination, he realized something important. The woman who entered his life unexpectedly had become the person who reminded him what genuine strength looked like. But soon, both of them would face a moment that would test whether their trust was strong enough to survive the truth waiting ahead. Olivia Carter had learned that finding confidence was only the beginning of her journey. The harder challenge was protecting that confidence when the world around her questioned whether she belonged. As Adrian Blackwood's connection with Olivia became more visible, attention followed them everywhere. People who had known Adrian for years were curious about the woman who had become one of the few people capable of bringing calm into his complicated life. Olivia noticed the questions and quiet opinions, but this time she did not allow them to define how she saw herself. She remembered the version of herself who once believed one person's rejection represented the truth about her worth. Now she understood that the opinion of others could never measure the value she carried inside. Adrian admired that change more than anything else. He knew Olivia was facing a world that could easily make someone doubt themselves, yet she continued to stand with patience and dignity. To Adrian, that showed a kind of strength that could not be bought or created through status. One evening, Adrian invited Olivia to an important gathering connected to his business world. He wanted her to see that she did not have to hide from the environment around him. Olivia felt nervous at first because she knew many people would judge her before knowing her. But Adrian reminded her that she was not there because of his influence. She was there because she had earned his trust. Those words gave Olivia confidence. For the first time, she entered a room connected to Adrian's world without feeling like she needed permission to exist there. She spoke with kindness, listened carefully, and showed the same authenticity that had first caught Adrian's attention. Many people expected someone close to Adrian to act a certain way, but Olivia showed them something different. She did not need to imitate anyone else to be respected. Meanwhile, Ethan Miller continued struggling with his regrets. He saw Olivia in a completely different light now. The qualities he once ignored were the journey that began with disappointment had transformed into something she never expected. Olivia was no longer the woman who questioned whether she was enough. She was a woman who knew her value, understood her strengths, and refused to let anyone else define who she was. Adrian Blackwood saw that change more clearly than anyone. From the first moment they met, he recognized something special about Olivia, but he also knew she had to discover it for herself. He never wanted to become the reason she felt confident. Worlds carried different experiences and faced challenges that tested their understanding of each other. Yet they discovered that the strongest connections are not created by appearances, status, or expectations. They are created when two people choose to see each other completely. Adrian had spent years being known by his reputation, but Olivia saw the person behind it. Olivia had spent years being judged by appearances, but Adrian saw the strength behind them. Together,